Let's just go to Jussie Smollett. We're gonna share this again. We can hear it. Let's just play it one more time.
Okay, I am not suicidal. I am innocent, and I am not suicidal. If I did this, then it means that I stuck my fist in the fears of Black Americans in this country for over 400 years, and the fears of the LGBTQ community. Your Honor, I respect you, and I respect the jury, but I did not do this, and I am not suicidal. And if anything happens to me when I go in there, I did not do it to myself, and you must all know that. I respect you, Your Honor. I respect your decision. Jail time. I am not suicidal. Okay.
Sorry, let me just put that on pause. Now let me just go back here. Oh, darn it. Hold on. Let's go back. So I'm going to close this one down. So I see absolute despair there. I mean, look, I read this story to my kid last night, The Boy Who Cried Wolf, very, very shortened version, a 1-page version. And the moral of the story was, a liar can never be believed. There's an old proverb that says, the liar's curse is not that he can never be believed, it's that he can never believe. And it's an interesting insight. I just very much disagree with it. The liar's, that someone who's a liar necessarily views everyone else as liars because that's how they think and that's how they view the world. Confession through projection. Yeah, fine. It's not. I don't care that liars can't trust the world. That's their issue. The curse of the liar is that they can never be trusted. And you've got Jussie Smollett, ironically enough, who staged, and I'm not even taking for granted that it might have actually happened to him. My belief, it is objective fact that he staged this on himself, period. Okay. If anyone out there thinks that there's a reasonable doubt that someone else might have actually perpetrated this act against him, good for you. I will not rely on your judgment ever for anything. Full stop. He did it to himself. I don't even think the Osundara brothers were not the orchestrators, perpetrators either. Anybody who thinks that's a little bit less of an absurd interpretation. If you want to give Jussie the benefit of the doubt, I think it's absurd nonetheless. You're entitled to your opinion. I will never rely on you for directions or advice or cooking advice. Jussie did it to himself, period. Okay? He staged a fake hate crime against himself. And now he's stating, if something happens to me, I didn't do it. After being found guilty of saying 2 years ago, something happened to me, I didn't do it, and I did do it. So the liar's curse is not that they can't trust anyone. It's that they can never be trusted again. And so that is the ultimate sick irony of what Jussie's doing right now. He has, by faking a hate crime, he has victimized every actual victim of hate crime. He has victimized every actual victim of any crime, for that matter, because you get victimized twice when you get victimized. Once when you get victimized, and then when you have to, if you do go file complaints, go to trial, prosecute the individual who did it, sue the individual who did it. That is reliving the victimization. Jussie Smollett desecrated the sanctity of actual hate crimes and actual victimization. And in the hearing yesterday, for anybody who didn't watch it, it was atrocious. It was like the letters of support for Jussie Smollett from celebrities, from not-for-profits, basically name dropping. I am this, I've won Oscars, I've been Golden Globe Award nominees, and I'm not naming anything because it's not about putting anyone on blast. They went up and testified themselves or wrote their letters. Samuel Jackson wrote a letter. And it was all, predicated on the idea that Jussie Smollett has done good to the community. He's volunteered. He's contributed to society. So he should be given leniency. It was not that he committed a wrong and has owned up for it. It's that, let's leave that entire part aside. People using their clout, attempting to use their clout, I'll say it, I would think for corrupt political purposes, to placate potential donors to their NGOs, for politics, because if this is embarrassing This is embarrassing for politicians. It's embarrassing for the legal system. It's embarrassing for the judicial system. Jussie Smollett embarrassed everybody with this debacle. Steve Harvey, who came out and vouched for him. I mean, I would have said he embarrassed BLM, who vouched for him as well, but they're continuing to vouch for him. BLM, the organization, still came out and said, I mean, I don't know. They believe it happened. Okay. But these name-dropping Hollywood types, these NGOs coming out and my credentials are sufficient, court, that you should show leniency on sentencing on this individual, and then people want to talk about corruption in the judicial system. You know, what is the privilege? The privilege is political privilege and wealth privilege. So, but the bottom line is, Jussie Smollett now coming out and saying, if something happens to me, I didn't do it. Can't trust the liar. He's basically saying exactly what he said 2 years ago and still maintaining something happened to me and I didn't do it, but we all know that it did, and he still hasn't apologized. And you know, the thing that I really don't like about this clip is that he looks like he's in psychological despair. This is my impression. This guy is now going to jail for 5 months. By the way, that's not nothing. 150 days. I know people think he deserves more, and I've got to tell you, when he left that courtroom and raised his fist in defiance, still purporting to be a victim, still desecrating the actual victimization of victims. When he invoked the Ukraine crisis, the Holocaust, racism, bigotry, homophobia. He invoked all of these in his defense as to why he should not go to jail for the crime he committed. And in so doing, he desecrated all of those actual victims. So when he left the court and raised his fist to the court, never took responsibility, never apologized, continued to be defiant even after getting what many believe to be a very lenient sentence for what he did and what he could have done. I can now understand. He might have deserved more time given the way he went out. I was prepared to forgive him, even to my own, as a fault, for a long time. I think 5 months is a long time nonetheless, and maybe he's going to come to some realization in jail. But the way that ended, I don't think so. And I got to tell you, I am concerned the way that ended. When someone says something like that in that disjunct manner, I am not blank. I did not do this. I am, it seems deranged the way it came out, the way it was delivered, the way there were disjoined ideas joined together in one sentence. It seemed deranged. By the way, let me just see if I can do this here. Should see the look on his attorney's face. I don't know if I can get that back up. No, let me see if I can get. Hold on. I had the Chartopedia. I'm not going to go there. I'm going to go to Twitter. Twitter.com/the. No, Twitter.com/the. When people, by the way, find the Viva Fry, I don't have Viva Fry as an account because someone already had it. They happen to be Russian. Now, when people see that, they're really going to think some thoughts. Okay, let me see. I put together just a little with the close up. Oh, here we go. Look at this. Look at his lawyer's face.
I am not suicidal.
To his left.
I am not suicidal.
I think she tries to touch him, or maybe she's trying to get him to be quiet. She wrote something on the paper. Look at her face now. She's like, please stop. I did not do this, and if something happens to me, I did not do it to myself. Says the guy who was just found guilty of having done something to himself and blamed it on other people. But I would be concerned if I were on Jussie Smollett's team, and I'm not saying this to be glib or facetious. I've had, anyways, for anyone who's been following me for a long enough time, let me just close that. As an attorney, I've had two experiences with this that are traumatizing for forever. Okay. Oh, that's it. Jussie only proves how a white Jewish kid can't expect a fair trial. Okay, that's funny because his grandmother came and begged for leniency, and I didn't know his grandmother. You say we know Jussie Smollett is part black, part Jewish. You don't really appreciate that until his 92-year-old Jewish grandmother gets up on the stand and defending her grandchild. There's nothing wrong with that, and you can't fault anybody. And you can't even fault them for willful blindness in still thinking that Jussie Smollett is innocent. You can't. A parent's blindness is something very difficult to overcome, unless you get off on blaming your kids. In which case, yeah. Watch the last 5 minutes of the judge's sentencing. He went on for 40 minutes. Gotta love that emergency. Okay, I'll stop that even as a joke. I don't want to. Okay, let me see here. Bring that out. But no, I'm saying this not as a joke. He looks like he's in a difficult spot mentally, and he most certainly is, knowing that he's going to jail for 5 months with people who might not like him. I imagine he's going to get relatively, I won't say good treatment, but he'll be looked after. But when someone gets up and says, I am not that, that's not what someone who's not that does. That's when people start, asking questions. Whether or not it's an actual sort of indirect call for help, and as opposed to an affirmation, which typically you don't make that type of affirmation all that often. Okay. What else? Have you ever been a wrestling fan? Not the fake wrestling fan. I used to Greco-Roman wrestle in university. What am I talking about? High school. University was squash. Maybe no jail time for MAGA company. I don't know what that means. But it doesn't sound good. I know what the stamp means, but I don't get the in context. Smollett, seems a narcissist. He is a delusional narcissist. He will not change. He is unable to take responsibility for his actions. That's what just really grows my fro in all of that. It's that generally speaking, people want to forgive. But you can't forgive someone who he is still, in the name of Black Americans who have been oppressed for 400 years. They don't need you desecrating that history by staging a hate crime against yourself and then insisting that you were a victim when you weren't. In fact, the only people who were victims of that was everyone else on earth. White people who were wrongly accused of having done it, Black people who have been victims of this for real, homosexuals who have been victims of this for real, the legal system that had to put up with this mockery of a prosecution and trial, the police force that, Chicago already has its problems. They didn't need this. Suddenly there's a new planet for us to colonize, 100% habitable. Do you move your family to get away from Earth politics for hardworking, starting from scratch? Do they have fishing on this planet? Serious question. The judge was soft. 5 months is a long time. And I don't know. I forget. I think he's got to repay the $100 and some odd $1,000. Oh, when they're saying what did he say? He's donated hundreds of thousands of dollars to charities. That's what a good person he is. Well, dude, thank you for making the best possible argument that he should be ordered to pay restitution for the money that he wasted on this prosecution. By the way, his civil suit turns to SHI Tizzle right now because he was found guilty. So his, wrongful prosecution, the civil suit against him just got a little bit stronger. He's going to have to pay all that money back, 5 months in jail. The dude still can't apologize to everyone that he wronged with this crap. And I would have forgiven him. Everyone who's been around the channel, the Jussie Smollett deferred prosecution agreement was like the first of, that was what really started. That was one of the main stories that I started this channel on. Was I didn't understand what the heck was going on. I had to call some American family lawyers in the United States to ask them what the heck is going on. And that's it. And then that story just went on for 2 years, and it's over now. 5 months in jail. I did predict 3 months in jail. Billions gone into Africa, India, released missile, ashamed of us leaders. Sorry for you. We are all human. Need to get all tyrants. Yeah. So that's basically that's all we have to say for today. Could Jussie mean others were involved in hoax? He argued it. He argued that the Osundaira brothers were involved in it, but I don't think anybody believes that the Osundaira brothers were involved in it, but for the fact that they were pulling a favor at the request of an individual whom to them was the biggest star that they know in their lives, who could get them, their break to stardom, who was buying their substances from them. It's oh, and then Kamala Harris and Cory Booker coming out. Everybody wants to jump on the bandwagon and exploit it so they can promote politics, and they all get humiliated and embarrassed by this, and the dude still just cannot fathom it. I mean, it's but the problem is, I like I said, if I were on his team, I'd be genuinely concerned, because he's now at the point where it has all fallen apart. He's going to jail. He's going to have to pay this money back one way or the other. His life is ruined. And where does he take what's the next level that he takes this to, above and beyond to trial, to conviction, to jail? So that's my concern. And this is not a every fear hides a wish. I wish that Jussie Smollett would recognize what he's done. I'm just now beginning to agree with many people in the chat. He's biologically, chemically in his brain incapable of doing it.